And one of the other things that I think are really important when you're considering, the impacts on balance sheets and how to look at the balance sheet and what's important takeaways are from the balance sheet, is to evaluate what the trend has been in the different metrics that are displayed in the balance sheet. Okay, so you got to consider, again, the current ratio is helpful, the debt to equity ratio is helpful. It's important to know what's going on with the business, like, for example, what's happening with Pfizer and Allergan. But you also can glean some insight by saying, okay, well, what's going on with the individual pieces or components of the balance sheet? Is cash, for example, growing over time? Is long-term debt, for example, falling over time? And what that can indicate to you is that, okay, you've got a company that is building up its cash that it can then use to reinvest in companies or new products, or that it's paying down its debt and it's going to have to pay less out in interest expense and therefore could deliver more money to net income. Obviously, if you look at the SEC website and you find a balance sheet and you look at it, it's a static number. So you're going to have to find websites that allow for charting of this information, but they're out there. Motley Fool uses Y charts, for example, to pull a lot of this data together and trend it out.
Yeah, and you'll find a lot of articles on our website that include these sort of visuals so you can get a sense of what's happening with the cash position or the debt or any of these trends that you might be interested in digging into a little bit deeper. And as Todd mentioned, that's so important because it gives you more context for the company. One static number can't really paint the whole picture. Going even beyond that about painting the whole picture, one thing that I definitely want to mention is that you can't just look at the balance sheet and say, oh my gosh, Bristol Myers, they win here. You do also want to look at the other things that you hear us talk about on the show all the time about pipeline and key drugs. So definitely take a holistic approach when you're doing your research. As always, remember that people on this program could have interest in the stocks they talk about. The Motley Fool could have formal recommendations for or against. So don't buy or sell based solely on a balance sheet, and don't buy or sell based solely on what you hear. Make sure that you're doing your own research.